My career destroyed my personal life. The consequences that no one talks about by L. Lee. I'm guessing this person is an influencer of some sorts, and she talks about the dark side of influencing, which is what everybody dreams to be of. So let's investigate what's going on here and why it might not be as grand as it seems to be a content creator.
Hey guys, welcome back to
Hi.
my YouTube channel. I don't really
Okay.
know how to start this
Let's
video
put her in full
because
screen.
it's a lot of sensitive topics. I've just been kind of going through a lot in the past 2 years, recently especially. I kind of wanted to share the stuff that I've been going through. I wanted to share my story. I wanted to share all the things that's kind of just been on my mind. I don't have any notes in front of me. I don't really know how this is gonna go or how organized it'll be, but I'm just gonna try my best. Basically,
But you got a lot of
if you guys
cuts.
have been paying attention to my social media closely, I haven't really been posting much. I've taken down a lot of my posts and I've been kind of taking a break from making active content for
Trying to guess the accent. I think it's Australian. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but right now I'm going with Australian.
a while now actually, but I still am actively chatting and talking to my close friends and just keeping up with some of the people that have been supporting me for a really long time. The reason that I have kind of been away is because at the point of my career a few years ago, I was fortunate enough because of you guys to take a break from creating content regularly and try to make friends, because up until a few years
I had to cut her off for a second, but I'm wondering how long it took her to edit this video because she's jump cutting every 3 seconds or so. It's wild. I know she's trying to do this without a script, but holy crap, all these jump cuts. It must have taken quite some time to just go through the video and cut out all the silent parts and then have to merge it in. Wow.
years ago, I just
Even though
worked
this is a talking
a lot
video.
to the point where I didn't have any friends. I didn't have enough time to have friends. I just worked, constantly chatting, constantly making content, streaming, making videos, editing videos. A lot of you assume that I had a team that helps me with everything, but I am a perfectionist and I'm kind of particular about everything, so I didn't want to burden people on taking on the task of editing my videos. So
That's why you pay them.
I was doing all of that and I did not have time to have a social life or even sleep, to be honest, which is
But I guess she wanted her videos edited in a specific way that she thinks she could only understand. But if she's doing most of the editing herself, no wonder she's stressed out, right? Even just this video alone must have taken days to edit, just to carefully skim through the video to cut out all the silent parts or parts of her thinking. No wonder she's stressed out.
how I was able to. Sorry, my cat is bringing me a toy. She's so cute. Hi.
Show the cat.
Meow.
Show the cat.
Hi. Oh, she's hungry. I reached my
Good thing I got my earbuds on, because if my dogs heard that, they would be barking up a storm right now.
financial goals on being able to support my family and being able to support my life. I took some time off to work on my personal life, which was, making friends, socializing, going to music events, spending time with my family, bonding with my cats, picking up old hobbies that I kind of lost the time to do, date a little bit here and there. Obviously, I don't want to end up alone. It was and is
Oh, I see the
kind of a
cat.
hard time for me because I'm trying to work on the stuff, my traumas, and there's a lot of deeper stuff that I've been
Here, if you want to see the cat, it's right there. Literally right there. I had to interrupt her for a second because I was curious about the cat, and I'm sure you are too.
trying to work on. Yeah, so that's where my career comes into play. Basically, when I started my career, I knew there was a lot of risks and consequences to the job that I decided to go into, but I didn't really have the time or the luxury to care about the consequences. I think a lot of the public have this misconception that everybody in my industry went into it because we're evil or we're super promiscuous or that we just love to do stuff on camera, I guess. I've
do
seen
stuff
a lot
on
of comments
camera.
on Instagram
Okay, so is she one of those OnlyFriends creators? Interesting, because she's talking about promiscuity and whatnot. So I think she sold pictures of herself online for some cash.
Instagram and TikTok and whatever that, and even
I could definitely see how that would be stressful.
DMs. Like I get a lot of hate DMs of people saying that I'm like a demon worshiper or
A demon
something, or
worshiper.
that I'm like contributing to evil.
The funny part is those people that are calling her a demon worshiper are incels, and odds are they're probably subscribing to OnlyFriends as well. So I wouldn't worry about those comments.
And to be honest, I am not an evil person. I wanted to talk about why I went into the industry. I did talk about it a few times on my Twitch channel. Basically,
Yeah, it's easy money. Well, kind of easy money, right? It still takes a lot of effort to be in the top percentile to make a full time living. But as a side job, it's pretty easy money, right? Like even if you only make 100 to 200 bucks a month, that's 100 to 200 bucks you're making just from posting pictures on the internet. Simple stuff. And 100 to 200 bucks a month, that's like 2 to 3,000 bucks a year. Yeah, it's not going to pay any bills, but it's still nice supplemental income that you could have for investing. So, it's pretty easy stuff.
I did not grow up with money.
But the drawback is that when you post those pictures online, you're leaving a digital footprint of yourself. And it's possible that a potential employer or business partner could see them and kind of look at you the wrong way. So it's easy money at first, but then you'll pay for it later in a sense. So if you're going to make money off of this kind of stuff, then you better try and shoot for that top 1% or whatever, where you can make a full-time living doing these kinds of stuff. And even then, I would imagine it has a bit of a shelf life. So that kind of content is a huge gamble where you're likely not going to make it. And if you don't make it, then it backfires on you immensely. I'm just seeing this from a practical point of view. I don't think she's evil for trying that, but it's just something to consider.
Like a lot of Asian families and people my age, my parents immigrated from Korea and they tried to set up a life here, make sure me and my brother had a good education in America, and
Oh,
tried
America.
to make it here in America.
Damn, I was completely wrong. I thought she was from Australia because it sounded like she had the Australian accent, like the Australian Korean accent.
But there was a lot of politics with my grandparents and my parents.
Yeah, see?
And we grew up very frugally. And I remember growing up seeing my parents constantly fighting, constantly arguing. I've seen my parents at their worst, treating each other not the best, treating me and my brother not the best, not because they're evil, but because they were constantly worried about surviving. Like they were trying to feed themselves and feed us and make sure that we were given all the basic needs. At a young age, I already created an opinion about money that I didn't like it. I don't really give a shit about money, to be honest. As I grew up, I realized, like as I got to college and stuff like that, I realized that money is important. It's not that I didn't know it was important, but that you had to make a lot of money in this world to be comfortable, just to be comfortable, just to be happy, just to have things that you need. And sadly and unfortunately, basic needs are really expensive, and rent is expensive, and homes are expensive. And
Here's the harsh reality. Even a six-figure salary, like let's say you make 100,000 on the dot, that technically puts you in the top 20% of earners, correct? But even that, it's not going to get you very far, especially because most of these six-figure salaries are in bigger cities where the cost of living is higher, like Los Angeles, New York City, right? So even if you have that six-figure income and you're in the technically the top 20, 25% or whatever, you're still barely getting by when the average rent for a one bedroom in those cities is 2,000 to 2,500. So 100,000 is barely just enough to meet the requirement to rent out those apartments. And yeah, you could be a little comfortable, especially if you're good with your money, but you're not chilling, so to speak. Like nowadays, you probably have to get to 200,000 to really not stress about finances that much. and 200,000 would put you in about the top 5 to 10% of earners off the top of my head. So you'd have to be exceptional just to be able to live a somewhat comfortable life in the US.
Food prices just keep going up. And my
Yep.
senior year of high school, I actually told my parents that despite how much I loved school
Yeah, a lot of food items have shot up 50% ever since 2020 in the past 5 years.
and how hard I worked in high school, like all the AP classes and stuff, that I did not want to go to university because I didn't know how to pay for it and I didn't want to put the burden of my tuition on my parents. My brother went to community college because of the same reason, and my parents felt like they didn't want to make the same mistake twice, so they were super adamant about sending me to a university. So they supported me my first semester of college. After my first semester of college, I just could not focus in school knowing that I was sacrificing something for my education. Like I was putting hardship on the people I love, my family, for my education. And if I were someone who were selfish or not mindful, I think I could have focused in school, but it was always in the back of my mind when I was taking my classes that the only reason why I'm here, the only reason why I'm taking these classes is because of like my parents' blood, sweat, and tears. And having that weight on my shoulders was very heavy.
I believe they call it tiger parenting.
So my second semester of college, my parents had moved back to Korea, and I texted them saying that I was going to move out of the house that we used to live in, and I wanted to get my own apartment and I wanted to pay for my own tuition, and I would get a job and work, get good grades, and I'll graduate and live on my own. They respected my decision, and so I moved out, and then COVID hit. So
Oof.
I quickly realized how
Worst time to graduate is right when COVID hit. That's when the job market was on pause for a good year or so. But I would say in 2021, it was an employees market for a bit. But then after that 2021 to 2022 peak of being an employee, that's when the market started shifting back to the employer's favor. And now, as of this recording at least, it's still heavily in the employer's favor as of early 2025.
hard
It's been
it
rough.
was to make money. I was working 50 hours a week and going to school, and because I took a lot of AP classes in high school,
Hustler.
my college classes my freshman year were very difficult. I was taking calculus 3 my first semester. I was taking discrete math. I was taking stats at a different college, taking computer science as well. So I was overwhelmed. I was paying for my own tuition, working, going to school, paying rent and paying for food, and also just trying to like also be a college student and, you know, go out to eat once in a while and stuff like that. And I did not have a lot of money despite all of that. And I'm sure a lot of, if you're a college student, I was there as well. I was there as well. Amongst all of that, I would text and call my parents once in a while. And my mom, she has a lot of health issues, and she would tell me that she would get sick here and there, which was pretty often, actually frequent. And I would tell her to go see a doctor. She would tell me that she couldn't go to the doctor because it costed too much and medicine costed too much. And I felt like an urgency.
Oh, she didn't have health insurance probably. But I think there's payment plans if you need procedures, but you can't pay for it all in one go. I think there's payment plans that you could sign up for.
To fix all of my problems and my family's problems. I wanted to find something that would make me a lot of money, but also give me time to finish school and have a social life.
Now we're getting to it.
That is why I went into the industry. But I'm just going to tell you guys this now. I have never been the type to sleep around or have multiple partners. I always loved having boyfriends, like serious committed boyfriends, since an early age.
A lot of girls do.
A lot of like manga and like that were like romance novels and Korean dramas and stuff. Like as a kid, I always wanted to be in those lovey, like cute relationships with a single partner, and
that's the goal for a lot of girls, is they want to be in a long-term relationship. That is true.
is what I've always strived to have. My body count before I went into the industry was very low. It was like under 10. Going into the industry, it was a logical, but like I didn't go into it because I wanted to. It wasn't because I wanted to be promiscuous. I did it because I assumed that it would make a lot of money and that it would support my family. And I just wanted my mom to be able to go to the hospital when she's sick, and I want to go to the hospital when I'm sick. And I wanted to relieve that weight off of my family's shoulders. And so
Wow.
I basically took the bullet, and people warned me about the consequences, and I did not care because all I cared about was the happiness of my family and me. So I buckled up and went into the industry. I hated every moment of it. I did not enjoy a single moment of the industry.
Damn.
Yes, I was in like a really bad agency, so I wasn't being treated well. That's a different thing. I hated the job. I never enjoyed it. It was not me. I was putting on a character. I was acting.
Well, yeah, I could imagine, right? You have to be with all these different people, these guys, right? And it just gets exhausting after a while. Like, let's even if you're a guy that's doing this, even as the guy, it's exhausting going through all these people. Whether you're a guy or a girl, it doesn't matter. It's emotionally exhausting and it's physically exhausting. And it puts a strain on your body. Again, whether you're a guy or a girl, that doesn't really matter. It's a lot of work. Even though some people think that it's fun work, it's actually rough. Even as a guy. And I've never been in the industry as a guy, but think about it like if you're a male performer, right? You have to be able to release on command. And there's going to be days where you're going to release like 4, 5, 6 times, right? That alone is exhausting for a guy. So whether you're a guy or a girl, this is kind of not the best industry. Even though a lot of guys think it's a dream to do it as a guy, it's really not all sunshine and rainbows.
Was trying to, in my head, constantly tell myself that I needed to show that I was like into my partners for the video. I remember when I entered the industry and I quickly found out that this was hard for me and tough.
And I'm pretty sure that she had to pretend to enjoy the moments of intimacy that she was doing with each of these guys, just like a lot of adult actors, right? And it's funny because now that and I'm glad that she mentioned her backstory first, because I feel like back in the day, that's why a lot of ladies went into that kind of work, is because they were struggling financially, doing normal things, trying to work 50 to 60 hours a week and still barely making it while going to school and all that. Now, yeah, there's some girls that don't even try to do that and they just go straight into this kind of work. I mean, that's why the Bop House exists, right? And you have a lot of girls whose dream is to go to the Bop House or whatever. But this is an interesting perspective that you don't get to see too often. And I appreciate it. Like it's still a questionable kind of work at the end of the day, but at least she's coming clean about it. That I can respect.
Tough for me, and I had to like push a lot of stuff back into a very far corner into my head to be able to continue to do this. I told myself that I needed to become the best. I needed to make a lot of money. I needed to do it fast so that I can be in it and leave, and then everything will be okay, was basically my mindset. So I was in it for 6 months, the professional industry.
6
and
months,
then I
okay.
continued to make content for a year and a half after that on making my own content to further increase my revenue and have ownership of my content. Like I knew I offered more than just my acting, and so I went on podcasts, I streamed, I put my personality out there, a mix of Elle and a mix of Tiffany, which is my real name. Hello. Hi, my name is Tiffany. Fast forward to the present time, I have been retired for 2 years. During the time that I've been trying to like find myself and work on myself and be a human, be a normal person, in the past year, I've realized that I've lost the in attempts to create a comfortable, safe, healthy environment for my family and for me, I've lost the ability to be human, be normal. I
Uh,
can't.
I can tell she's struggling, like she's about to cry.
I can't leave my house. I can't. I've been struggling to date.
The
I've
eyes are
been
getting red
struggling
too.
to. Everybody needs an outlet. If you're stressed, if there's something in your life that you're not happy about, everyone has to have an outlet. And my outlet was going out with friends, going to raves, going to music festivals,
Okay.
and just, hanging out and taking a break from my internet personality. And so in the past year, I realized that I'm no longer able to have an outlet anymore because anytime I leave my house, I get constantly reminded that I have to be her. I don't know if it's like regret. When I was in Korea, I had a
Ah,
conversation with my mom, and she asked me if I regretted my decision to go into my career.
that's
And I told
rough.
her if I could go back, I would do it again because I did this for us. I did it for you. I did it for dad. I did it for my brother. Like, I did it for us.
She added a clapping noise.
In a heartbeat, I would do it again. Growing up, my life was very difficult when I was.
To be fair, if I was a girl, I would consider the same path too. Like if I was a girl in the age of online adult entertainment, I would have considered going down that path as like an 18 to 20-year-old in college. And I feel like a lot of guys would consider that as well if they happen to be girls. So I don't believe it when guys say, "Oh, if I was a girl, I wouldn't even think about doing it." I think they're full of crap for the most part. Just like the ones that harp on these girls for trying to do that kind of work. Like, yeah, it's questionable. Yeah, I understand why a lot of employers or a lot of people will judge for this kind of stuff, but a lot of the hate is from guys who just don't get any action, and they probably and they probably subscribe to a bunch of pages on their own, and they're just talking shit anonymously. So most of these guys that are talking shit are just straight up consumers. Like, yeah, maybe don't go into the industry. Like, yeah, maybe this is the consequences of her actions, but like, at least she's shedding light as to why a lot of girls feel like they have to be in this line of work, even though it's very degrading, correct? So, yeah, let's not talk a whole bunch of shit and go like, oh, she deserved it or whatever, right? If you want that shit, there's like 20 different channels that you can go on that just bash these women, right? Like, there's nothing productive in bashing them. But we can do what is productive though is learning from their stories and understanding a different point of view and really opening up your mind. That's going to make you a better person, and it's going to make you more understanding of what girls are thinking about, which as a guy will help you talk to women and so forth. And even if you have no interest in that, or even if you're a girl that's watching this, it's still nice to be able to hear these stories and get another perspective, right? Because more knowledge does make you more powerful in a way. And you can get these knowledge through these stories as long as you're willing to listen.
Was in my career, it was very difficult. Like, I thought I was setting myself up for the future. I would have a life that was peaceful and calm and safe. And so I can't go outside without someone reminding me that people recognize me and people know who I am and
Oh,
people are
damn.
watching what I'm doing and people are
So she was that famous, huh? That people were actually noticing her on the streets and in public. Cool.
accidentally bumping into me and people are grabbing me and people are trying to taking videos and pictures of me without me knowing and people
There were people trying to grab her unsolicited. Holy.
are bothering my personal friends asking them if they can take a picture with me and I just hope one day there will come a time where this was all worth it. I mean, it is
Wow.
worth it because my family is like I send a lot of money to my parents, and on top of that, I see the Instagram comments. I get a lot of hate DMs. I've also had past ex's parents say things to me. I've had people say things to me to my face in person. I understand that people have views and opinions about the industry. I also like see your point of view. I grew up religious, so I recently did reconnect with my spiritual.
A lot of Koreans actually grow up tongue-tied, religious. There we go. I clearly need an extra cup of green tea this morning.
As well, and so I don't blame these comments. To be honest, I probably agree with you. I think a part of me
Okay.
has just been
Self-aware.
struggling to like I felt like I did what I had to do at the time. But it's like the
Ouch.
punishment is going forever, you know? Like it's like when was it so wrong? Like was it so evil? I don't know. And so it's so fucking weird when I go out in public and people ask if I am her when I've never felt like I was her. I also wanted to apologize if any of you have coincidentally been at the same event as me in the last few months. You asked me if I was LD and I said no, or I came off as rude. I wanted to apologize because I want to be nice to you guys and I want to be in a good mood for you guys and take pictures with you guys, but I'm just not at a place right now where I can be that. So,
it was so bad that she had to lie about her identity.
oh, I am sorry. I wish I could tell you guys that I'm feeling better, but it's a work in progress, and I feel like there's just a lot of other stuff I'm dealing with besides this, but it's too personal and I don't want to trigger anybody. I'm just trying the best I can right now. So I'm unwell. I'm really unwell. There's a reason I'm still alive, so I gotta keep going. For my cat, you know, because
There you go. That's my motivation. My 2 dogs right now. That's what's keeping me going in life.
I think she deserves me as an owner.
So show her some love, but also show me some love for my dogs.
Because I take care of her really well, and I wouldn't want her going to
There's the
someone
cat.
who would treat her any less.
Kitty.
Thank you guys for listening. I love you guys. Even the people sending me hate and stuff. I just hope you're happy as well, because happiness is hard to come by.
One of her related videos. This girl is lucky that she ended up being in the small minority of girls that actually managed to make something out of their presence in the so-called industry, right? Because as I've said earlier in the video, 98% of these girls, they don't make it. They maybe get like $100 to $200 a month at best, but then they have all this stuff that's lingering on the internet forever, basically, that anybody could see, and it could cost them opportunities down the line for just a measly $200, $300 a month or whatever, right? But she was one of the fortunate few that was able to build a big enough following to be able to leverage that into influencing in other ways, right? In normal ways, in non-adult ways, or become a streamer or whatever, right? And she managed to save up a nice chunk of money from what she did in the adult entertainment industry. But it's just the harsh reality, right? That even with all that money and all the followers she's gained on social media and how she's able to transition her content from the adult stuff to just more regular type of content, so to speak, it still puts a huge emotional toll on you. And that scar never goes away. I mean, she was literally crying for almost half the video, and I'm sure she cries, you know, behind the like when the camera's off too. Like, it's not an easy kind of industry, but let's see what the comments say. So when the devil wants to dance with you, you better say never, because a dance with the devil might last you forever. That's actually a good quote, because technically this devil is going to be in her head for life. The industry is such a double-edged sword. On one side, it has helped many people make money, yet at the same time, it's ruined lives and destroyed the careers of those involved in filmmaking and those addicted in consuming the content. Yeah, I mean, this just enables people to be even more addicted to this kind of content in a way, right? So even though these girls are making a lot of money, mentally, they're not there forever. Or mentally, they've kind of lost a piece of themselves forever, if that makes more sense. And it just makes these guys even more and more addicted, which is what we don't need either, right? Let's see. Hello, Tiffany. My name is Miyuki, and I'm part of your female audience. To be completely honest, I've never really followed your work in the industry, but what caught my attention was the video you recorded on the library show. From that moment on, I started following you here and was captivated by the person you seem to be. As a woman and also from someone from a family of Asian immigrants, I never judged you, and I believe I never will, especially now that I know the reason behind your career was your mother's health. I just wanted to say that I admire you so much and that one day you can heal what burdens you was your mother's health. Now I'm thinking of Soul Leveling, because if you've seen the Soul Leveling anime, the main character kind of just does what he does for his mother's health in the beginning. Hey, Tiffany, please take care of yourself. I followed you after you were on the library show because I loved your vibe and thought you were so funny. I wanted to see more of that. But yeah, there you go. Dark side of social media influencing, and also the dark side of being in the industry. While there's a lot of reward for those that are willing to take the risk and put in the work, it still comes with with a big price to pay. But for some, it's worth it. Do you think it's worth it? I'm 50-50 on it, but I want to see your thoughts.